just user experience in general, how businesses run, which user experience plays a big role in customer experience as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, customer experience is really an outgrowth of user experience, to be perfectly honest. Kind of like in that sweet spot between like user experience and marketing, customer experience emerged. And that's really been interesting to watch over the past 10 years.
Today, Elaine and I will be discussing the importance of user experience.
Yeah.
User experience in general is one of the most important topics, and I believe is the type of topic that hasn't been explored enough, and it's not given enough attention. And so we need to dive into user experience, why it's important, and then how do you dive into UX and figure out all the problems and solutions.
I think one of the really nice things about user experience is that it's really just a series of like tools and techniques that you can use in almost any circumstance. So once you get kind of familiar with the different approaches of the practice, then you can kind of find different ways to introduce them, whatever project you're working on.
Right. And this goes for web development, applications, product design, whether it's physical or digital products. Even, just user experience in general, how businesses run, which user experience plays a big role in customer experience as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, customer experience is really an outgrowth of user experience, to be perfectly honest. Kind of like in that sweet spot between like user experience and marketing, customer experience emerged. And that's really been interesting to watch over the past 10 years. I think one of the neat things about user experience is that it's a great combination of hard skills and soft skills. So you have people that come from really traditional graphic design or industrial design backgrounds, and they have like a really firm sense of the craft of design. But then user experience also really highlights the roles of like the soft skills, facilitation, collaboration, getting people to feel comfortable in a room and express creativity and vulnerability. And those are really important elements of any kind of innovation or digital transformation project.
Right. I think a major key is that it addresses the foundation, which is the human factor.
Yes.
Right. Creating user experience, the number one foundational piece is remembering that you're creating the experience for other people.
Yes.
So it's not a matter of what your ego believes. It's not a matter of what you think is right. It's a matter of what makes sense and what's good for your end users.
Yeah, it's very much an outside-in approach. If you're not talking to people and really figuring out how they're working and what their needs are and their pain points and experiences, without that kind of data to drive your decisions and sort of shape your perspective on the business, I think it's very difficult to have a product that's going to be widely accepted and really enjoyed and used regularly. So, a workshop is really just a place for people to come together. It can be across functional teams. It can be like all teams from one department. It can be people who are all in one space. It can be people, like some people in one space, some people in another space. It can be completely distributed, so everybody's coming in remotely. The tools for running workshops have become so sophisticated in the past couple of years, and there's a really strong skeuomorphic effect where they're built and designed in such a way that they mimic the experience of like a real life in-person workshop. So these tools have become very powerful. And basically what you want to do is you kind of have a person you align on it. First you need to align on a goal, right? So no workshop is effective unless you kind of have an understanding of what everybody is there to do. There's a problem that needs to be solved. And then you bring everybody into the room and you have a facilitator. So somebody who's kind of prepared some exercises, and there are frameworks that person should probably be familiar with, such as like the double diamond approach for like thinking big and then focusing and then thinking big and then focusing. And you just kind of create places to develop ideas and then to focus those ideas and to kind of figure out like what are the next steps for moving forward. But they're intended to be very playful and creative and just for having fun.
And open-minded.
Yes.
Right.
Definitely.
So the idea behind workshops is truly to get all the different type of perspectives in a room, have everybody who is trying to do two things, find the root of the problem and then create a solution for that problem. And workshops are phenomenal, which we do them in-house all the time, even just with internal teams, but we also do them with clients where we go out and we bring in the client team with our team and we pinpoint, which problem we're trying to solve. We get a lot of perspectives, a lot of ideas. It's very playful and actually you start to uncover a lot of interesting things. So I'm very excited to get into the details.
So I have a little bit of presentation material that I can kind of use to guide the conversation. Hopefully you will see that. So I think that we all can agree right now that digital collaboration is the future of work. Everything has moved online. One of the things that I have seen over the years is digital maturity varies a lot across organizations. So sometimes, you have for example, I worked for a company where a lot of our clients were on the West Coast. And so in that instance, almost everything, since we're based in New York, was happening online. And so we had a really strong internal culture for online work. Like I really never had to tell my boss whether or not I was coming into the office. Like if I decided not to come in, we were probably already chatting online anyway. And so it was never really a question of reporting to him about what my intentions were. When we did video conferences, the sort of expectation was always that your video was on. We were always using platforms that made it really easy to kind of access the space. It wasn't like you had to have a call-in number or download software every time you wanted to use it. So there was a really nice sort of culture. And then I shifted to working for a large agency. And at that agency, they didn't have those same tools and expectations. And so it was much more of a 9 to 5. And if you wanted to work from home, you had to give 24 hours notice. Oftentimes, if you were joining a call remotely, you would have to wait a few minutes after the beginning of the meeting before people would let you into the conference room. And so those sorts of micro behaviors really impacted the overall culture of the ability to work remotely with other people. And so I think with now that everybody's working from home, you're really seeing a shift towards thinking about how do we make these tools and resources and behaviors more accessible to everyone, because we want people to feel heard. And so that's kind of why we're here today, is to help your organization or any organization out there better understand how they can use digital workshops to, create these remote play spaces and develop ideas when everybody can't necessarily be in the room together.